My brother said putting the family business in his name was just for taxes. I trusted him. Then a notice arrived. I owned nothing. Lawyers, ledgers, and lessons followed. Next time, our contract won't be a handshake. It'll be a fortress with signatures. I'm 31, Alex Reed, co-founder of a small logistics company in Columbus, Ohio, 2 Sprinter vans, a leased box truck, 14 contractors at peak season. My brother Dylan is 29, the charming younger one who remembers everyone's coffee order. Over a Sunday roast at our parents' place in Worthington, he slides a folder toward me like it's a dessert menu. It's just for taxes, he says. Temporary, purely optimization and lawsuit protection. His fiancée Sophie smiles like a hostess. Her friend with a gelled fade introduces himself as Evan, buddy accountant. Quarterlies are a mess if you don't consolidate, Evan says, tapping a laminated flowchart. If Alex transfers his membership units to Dylan before December 31st, we can shield last year's windfall from that UPS subcontract. Then we revert. Clean. He says revert like a magic button. You trust family, right? Dylan adds, light as a joke but watching me. Mom nods toward Dad. Smart people do this, she says. Dad folds his arms in that retired engineer way that means he's already decided. Sophie passes me a pen with our last name engraved. Gift from their engagement party. The pen feels like a dare. I flip pages. Operating agreement. Consent resolution. Temporary assignment of membership interest. Dylan's attorney, somebody from a boutique on Gay Street, has stacked signature flags like runway lights. Pure housekeeping, he says. Will revert after filings. He repeats the word revert 3 times. I picture the East Brainerd Road warehouse I've been eyeing, with a loading dock that doesn't flood when the Scioto spits. I picture a second box truck by June. I picture taking the London-bound freight contract we've almost won. I sign. The notary stamps. Evan claps once like a coach. Dylan hugs me too hard. You won't regret it, he says into my shoulder. 2 days later, I get a DocuSign ping. Amendment. Banking authority. I skim on my phone between a run to a Grove City shipper and a late pickup near Rickenbacker. It looks like a mirror of the first packet. I tap approve in the parking lot under a dying halogen. My phone battery is at 9%. I tell myself adulting is trusting experts. I tell myself revert. The text thread lights up with confetti emojis. Sophie sending a boomerang of champagne flutes. Mom replies, proud of your teamwork, boys. Dad thumbs up reacts. I silence the chat. A week later, a letter lands. First Federal Business Services. Window envelope. Dear Mr. Reed, this letter confirms the update to your account profile. Beneficiary designation has been modified. Administrative portal permissions have been reassigned. I read it twice at my kitchen counter, next to a Fluke multimeter and a box of 2-inch ratchet straps. I chalk the sour feeling up to procedural stuff. I forward it to Dylan. Did you mean to change beneficiary? He replies, Evan says it's automatic. Chill. In the portal that night, I noticed the admin badge gone from my name. I still have operator access. I can approve fuel cards and view balances, but the owner settings tab throws a permissions error. I screen record it and email Evan. He responds at 10:42 p.m. All normal during realignment. Will revert after filings. Promise. We throw our 3-year corporate party in a rented back room at Land Grant Brewing. $1, $200 deposit, string lights, a slideshow of delivery stats. I'm supposed to give the future state speech. I rehearse lines about expanding to Dayton, about the East Brainerd lease LOI sitting in my drafts. Dylan taps the mic and jokes about our tax ninja. Everyone laughs in the right places. Contractors pose for photos in front of a vinyl banner Sophie ordered without asking me. New logo, cleaner fonts, Dylan's name first. It reads better, she says. During the toast, my phone buzzes on the bar. Another portal alert. Primary contact updated. I raise my glass, feel the way soda water feels when you meant vodka, and tell myself again, revert, revert, revert. After the applause, I duck into the hallway by the merch shelves and call the bank. The after-hours robot recognizes my number, then routes me to authorized user support. I hang up before a human can ask security questions I no longer get to answer. I go back in and talk about freight lanes, on-time rates, loading efficiencies, and a steel mezzanine I want to build to double pallet capacity. People clap. Dylan throws an arm around my neck for the selfie. Later, in the Uber home, I draft a list in notes: EIN, portal, bank, beneficiary, insurance binder, UPS subcontractor login, fuel card hierarchy. Next to each I type one word: revert. The hall sits over the Toyota like a glass shoebox, string lights bouncing on the river. I'm rehearsing my line about our first truck run to Toledo, 35 pallets of brake rotors, 0 claims, when Dylan pings his fork on a champagne flute. Today we take the next step, he says, chin up toward the Epson projector. I'm stepping in as sole executive. Alex is stepping away from ops to focus on personal projects. The pause is the knife. Laughter, then applause warm as stage lights. I smile because there's a camera on me. The slide deck clicks. CEO, Dylan Reed. Same font Sophie insisted on. My name shrunk to founding partner, advisory. No heads up, no draft, nothing. I catch Sophie watching the room watch me. She mouths, "It reads better." The contractors clap. Some look at me with that polite sympathy you give a retiree. I lift my glass like this was the plan. I try the back office door to grab my notes. The HID badge glows red, beeps twice. I try again, slower, like the lock needs courtesy. Red. Dylan's cousin with the camera says, "Oops, wrong door." I laugh like it's a joke, then walk the long way past the bar racks stacked with pint glasses and merch. I feel every eye in my ribs. At 8:17 p.m., my phone buzzes. First federal alert. Outgoing ACH, $48,700. Grayline Advisory LLC memo, urgent consulting. I didn't approve that. I screenshot, timestamp visible, battery at 41%. I open the admin panel out of habit, then remember I don't have the tab anymore. Operator view. No owner settings. I watch cash leave like rain through a skylight. I find Dylan near the dessert table, powdered sugar on the tablecloth. "What's the 48,700? Ask. He doesn't flinch. Grayline. Evans guys. You signed, so you agreed. He says it loudly enough for his audience. A couple of our drivers nod like this is grown-up business. Mom materializes at my elbow. "Don't make a scene," she whispers. "Think of the company's image." Dad stands behind her, hands in pockets, doing the patient judge look. Sophie circles with a tray of macarons. "Try lavender," she says to me like we're at a bridal shower. I pull up my talking points: Dayton expansion, East Brainerd Road lease, mezzanine steel. The mic comes to me anyway. I give the founder heart speech, the one you give when you've been placed in a museum. I keep it clean. Gratitude, hustle, lanes. People clap. The projector shows a photo of Dylan in a hard hat I bought. The caption says leadership. By 9:02 p.m., my inbox fills with forwards I'm no longer on. Per new structure, route ops inquiries to Dylan. One supplier writes, "Our forklift guy from Hilliard texts, 'Congrats on semi-retirement.' The UPS subcontract portal shows, primary contact, D. Reed. My name appears once under emergency numbers. I walk to the balcony to breathe. The river moves like graphite. The vinyl banner Sophie ordered hangs on the railing, sleeker logo, our last name in a taller weight. Under it, a card table with swag. Keychains, koozies, a stack of decal sheets where my initials used to perch in the corner. I peel one, then set it back. At the bar, Evan does small talk about 179 deductions. "That consulting spend? A steal," he says, tapping his temple. "You've got to pay for expertise." I ask, "What's the deliverable?" He smiles. "Peace of mind." I picture $48,000 dissolving into that phrase. Later, I try the back office again out of plain stubbornness. Red. The event coordinator shrugs. "Dylan told us to lock down after 6, she says. "New policy." I look at the closed laptop I can't reach. I think about the spare key fob in my glove box that now means nothing. On the way out, Dad claps my shoulder. Transitions are messy, he says. Mom adds, this is what smart people do. You'll thank him when you're not sleeping in the warehouse. I say, I haven't slept in the warehouse in a year. She hears what she prefers. At 11:23 p.m., I'm home. I open the bank PDF statement Dylan's assistant helpfully shared during the toast. Page 3 lists, urgent consulting, brand refresh, executive coaching. My title reappears only once, advisory stipend, $0. I zoom in until the pixels break. I send Dylan a single line, clarify scope and authority. He replies with a screenshot of my own signature on the temporary assignment. Beneath it, he types, per your consent, focus on personal projects. The words sit there neat as a headstone. At 7:41 a.m., a supplier writes, please route all questions through Dylan. Our insurance broker follows. Per updated authorized contacts, we'll need Dylan to countersign. The UPS liaison. Congrats to Dylan on CEO. I reply to each with received. Then star them all. I start a folder revert. For the first time all night, it hits clean. I don't control anything. Not the cash. Not the doors. Not even the story they're telling about me while my face still smiles from the slideshow. I put my HID badge in the junk drawer next to the Fluke multimeter. The drawer closes with the mechanical finality of a vault. 31 days later, Monday, 8:06 a.m., First Federal pings me with delinquency notice. $27,300 past due across equipment leases. At 9:12 a.m., my IRS portal flashes a red banner. Missing payroll tax deposit, Form 941. 2 minutes after that, Dylan calls with voice on a tightrope. We need a quick plug or accounts freeze. Short-term liquidity, big brother. He says liquidity like a magic word that unlocks my wallet. I breathe once, slow. You'll get help, I say, after my equity and admin rights transfer back. Terms include an independent audit. He laughs like I told a joke, then realizes I didn't. By noon, calendar invites fly. We meet Wednesday in a downtown conference room with views of the State House dome. On their side, Dylan, Sophie with a hard smile. Their lawyer, Kincaid, monogrammed cufflinks, and Evan, the buddy accountant, already tapping numbers into a MacBook. On mine, Marina, my attorney, unflappable, and Victor, my CPA, who carries a legal pad like a scalpel. The receptionist brings a glass carafe and those pebble ice cubes that make everyone feel important. I switch my phone to airplane mode and set it face down next to a printed agenda. Bullets, timestamps, exhibits. Cold clarity, finally. We start with cash. Victor reads from bank PDFs, pages flagged with neon tabs. Grayline advisory, $48,700. Description, urgent consulting. Deliverables. Evan clears his throat. Strategic alignment. Victor raises an eyebrow. Because the Amex statements show Grayline paying deposits at the Hermitage Hotel, Nashville, 2 nights, June 14th to 16th. Room service labeled Wedding Suite. He slides a color printout across the table. Sophie's jaw tightens. That was a venue walkthrough, she says. Victor taps the date. Your Instagram shows vows that weekend. Caption. We did a thing. Next, executive vehicle lease. $1, $486/month. Tesla Model Y, white. Plate ending 93H. Dylan says, client-facing. Victor reads the odometer entries. Primary charging location. Your apartment garage. Then marketing. $22,900. Miami influencer activation. He opens a deck with 4 slides of sunset cocktails and a Pool Cabana logo. None of our clients ship pool floats. Kincaid leans back. This is character assassination. Marina doesn't blink. It's an audit. She points to the operating agreement I signed while being told it was housekeeping. Even under the temporary assignment, fiduciary duties remain. Self-dealing is not optimization. Dylan's ears go red. You're destroying family, he spits. I keep my voice flat. Family doesn't bill payroll tax to vibes. The IRS wants deposits, not confetti. I lay out the counteroffer. I'll fund arrears only after two things: signed transfer of equity and administrative control back to me, and an independent audit continued to completion. We use a simple structure, SPA with escrow. Funds don't touch operating accounts until the state updates the member registry and bank restores owner permissions. Deliverables: Form 941 brought current. Equipment leases cured. UPS subcontract kept in good standing. Kincaid tries the scare tone. Vendors will walk while you posture. I slide a neat stack across the table. Notices, screenshots, colored arrows. They'll walk faster when the bank freezes accounts for fraud flags. This is triage. Sophie whispers to Dylan. He hisses back. We can't let him be CEO again. I don't take the bait. Title reads how you file it. I say. We're not arguing feelings. Under paper pressure, they crack. Kincaid edits while Marina dictates. The stock purchase agreement, really a membership interest sale, states the transfer is irrevocable upon filing, with a closing condition of bank admin rights restored. Escrow instructions are precise. My $27,300 wires in, held by Buckeye Title. Release only when the Secretary of State shows the amendment and First Federal confirms owner settings reassigned to me. A cure schedule is attached. Evan mutters about operational disruption. Victor writes duress in the margin like a joke. Marina doesn't smile. We all sign. I initial every page. Sophie's signature lands sharp, ink biting the paper. Dylan's hand shakes. The notary stamps. Buckeye Title emails wire instructions from a domain Marina had pre-verified. I walk to First Federal's branch because I want a human to watch the numbers move. At 3:44 p.m., I authorize the wire, $27,300 to escrow. The teller, cheerful, says, "That's a car, huh?" I say, "It's a stop sign." Back on Gay Street, the sky hangs low like wet wool. I forward the wire confirmation to all parties with the subject line, escrow funded, per SPA. I include the clause number for release conditions. Evan replies with a thumbs-up emoji. Kincaid responds, received. Dylan sends nothing. At 5:02 p.m., Secretary of State's portal shows, filing received, pending. At 5:19 p.m., Buckeye Title confirms funds in. At 6:03 p.m., my phone buzzes, First Federal, owner permissions restored. I exhale. I log in. The owner settings tab opens like a door that used to beep red. For the first time in months, I draw a line in ink, not vibes. And the line holds. The Secretary of State Registry flips my name to manager/member at 10:12 a.m. By lunch, the smear starts. Anonymous posts on the Columbus subreddit and a local logistics Facebook group. Alex stole the family business. He locked his own brother out. Greedy suit. The burner accounts recycle the same phrasing. I screenshot each, archive the URLs, and forward to Marina. She replies with a single line. Document. Don't react. At the Thursday Carriers meetup at a bar off Parsons, I'm talking pallet rates when Dylan ambles in with 3 guys from his flag football team. He climbs onto the small stage where the karaoke machine lives. FYI, he announces, beer high. This man fired a pregnant dispatcher. Phones lift. Jeers. Someone throws a crumpled coaster. I hold my hands up. We reduced no one, I say. Medical leave is protected. Payroll records are available to auditors. The host kills the mic. I pay my tab, tip in cash, leave through the side door. Out back, a driver I've known 2 years won't meet my eyes. Overnight, the office door on Alum Creek shows Trader carved through the paint down to the metal. The security camera catches a hooded figure spraying red lines across the logo, then a second figure, barely concealed, posing for a photo. Frame by frame, Victor and I freeze on a profile with a chipped incisor. Dylan's buddy Cal from the toast night, seen in Sophie's Instagram reels. I file an online report with CPD, upload the clips, and email our insurer. The adjuster asks if we want to repaint or replace. I say replace. Fresh steel. Fresh lock set. Marina files for a temporary restraining order the same afternoon. Me as petitioner, Dylan as respondent, premises specified down to parcel number and GPS coordinates. We anchor it in concrete incidents. Vandalism case number. Meetup defamation with 3 sworn declarations. A late-night badge attempt already captured by our logs. She adds my declaration that previous informal boundaries failed. We go before a magistrate the next morning. The courtroom smells like toner and lemon cleaner. Dylan arrives in a hoodie under a blazer. Sophie in sunglasses like paparazzi wait outside. Kincaid argues, business dispute, brotherly dust-up, equity misunderstanding now resolved. Marina keeps it tight. Pattern of harassment interfering with commerce and safety. Petitioner seeks a TRO covering person, premises, and electronic interference. The judge thumbs through exhibits, pauses at the carved door photo, then at the access logs. I am granting the order for 6 months, she says. No contact in any medium, no entry or attempt, no proxy. 1 contact equals arrest. Her eyes find Dylan. Test me on this and you'll see. We serve the order before lunch. I forward the PDF to our property manager, our alarm vendor, and the guard service. The guard sergeant, a retired deputy, says, "You'll want a fresh do not admit list." I send badge numbers and headshots. We add Cal. A week crawls by like a convoy in snow. The posts continue. I keep archiving. Gray line invoices trickle in. We reject them with the SPA clause highlighted. I delete 3 voicemails from unknown numbers that start with heavy breathing and end with thief. Mom texts, "Please talk to your brother." I reply with the docket number and the judge's line in quotes. Friday, 2:13 a.m. The South Lot camera shows a familiar silhouette trying the reader at the rear door. The system logs access denied. Revoked credential, Dylan Reed. He tries a second door, then another. He pulls his hoodie tighter, looks up, and waves at the lens with 2 fingers like this is a prank. The guard truck rolls in at 2:16. The deputy steps out slow, hand on radio. Dylan backs away as if distance undoes law. The deputy asks his name. Dylan lies. The deputy already has the TRO printout in his clipboard sleeve. Violation. The cruiser arrives silent. Lights off. The cuffs click. Dylan keeps talking. This is family property. He can't do this. We founded this together. The camera records every word. Sophie bursts into the lobby 2 minutes later. Hair ropey, phone filming, screaming, "You ruined everything." The deputy says, "Ma'am, step back." She doesn't. He repeats it with the weight of someone who has said it 1,000 times. She steps back. In the morning, Kincaid emails Marina. Subject line, unnecessary. Marina replies with 1 sentence. Court ordered. Your client violated. I forward the clip to the case file and go make coffee in the break room whose light flickers like a bad omen I no longer believe in. The new steel door arrives at 9. I sign for it with a pen that has no family name engraved. For the first time, I'm not ashamed. I'm not the villain in Dylan's story or the prop in Sophie's reels. I'm the manager of record-protecting inventory, payroll, and people. Locks click. Paper holds. The river, when I finally see it on my drive home, looks like slate and keeps moving without permission. The morning after Dylan's arrest, I unlocked the south door at 6:31 a.m., brewed a pot of Costco coffee, and opened a spreadsheet labeled Rebuild. Tabs. Vendors, clients, controls, legal. First line under controls read, Kill no bid, family favors. By noon I'd terminated Grayline Advisory and 2 other sweetheart contracts. One for branding workshops that were actually Sophie's brunches. Another for executive wellness that invoiced $1,200 for eucalyptus towels. Marina sent the notices with the clause numbers emboldened. Evan replied with a thumbs down emoji. I archived it with a date stamp. We moved bookkeeping off Sophie's freelancer spreadsheet into real software, NetSuite, not pretty but relentless. Victor migrated 12 months of messy entries, reclassed Wedding Suite and Miami Activation, and produced a P&L that finally told the truth. I turned on 2FA across everything, bank, UPS portal, fuel cards, insurance. The first staff meeting began with a new phrase, 4 eyes policy. Any payment over $5,000 requires 2 approvers. Any vendor above $10,000 in a quarter goes through a conflict of interest check. I printed the policy, initialed every page, and taped a copy above the Keurig. Clients had drifted during the drama. I scheduled humble calls, transparent SLAs, weekly scorecards, GPS pings you can see. I promised. We rebuilt lane by lane. The Toledo brake rotors contract returned first after I sent a deck with on-time charts and a live demo of our dispatch track dashboard. Then a Grove City plastics manufacturer came back when we put their pallets on a Saturday route and delivered 3 weeks straight without a miss. The big win was a hospital supply account we'd lost in the smear. Their procurement lead watched our driver app timestamps and said, "Looks like adults are back." We signed a 12-month with a 30-day escape clause earned, not assumed. Culture had curdled under the siblings and fiancés regime. I brought in an HR pro, Keisha, calm spine, messy bun, SHRM letters. She ran listening sessions in the break room, set up a real PTO tracker, and posted a harassment policy that wasn't copy-pasted from the internet. She separated 2 cousins who'd only ever reported to Dylan and moved a dispatcher, Lila, into scheduling lead because she's the one who quietly solved Saturday meltdowns with a whiteboard and a smile that says, "Try me." We added a safety bonus tied to incident-free miles and finally stocked the first aid kit with more than Band-Aids and aspirin. My parents tiptoed at first, texts with neutral weather. Therapy softened something. The 3rd week, Dad asked to see the filings. I handed him the stamped SPA, the TRO docket, the Secretary of State printout. Mom looked at the gray line of expenses at wedding suite, at Tesla lease, and whispered, "We were told this was tax optimization." I said, evenly, "It was a trap with nice fonts." She nodded once. The next Sunday she brought lasagna and did not start sentences with "smart people do this." Nights belonged to paper. With Marina I drafted a shareholders agreement, really a members pact, with buy-sell triggers, disability clauses, and a deadman provision that routes control to a trustee if I get flattened by a box truck. We added NDAs for anyone who sees lane pricing and a conflict of interest policy with teeth. Annual disclosures, attestation, termination for cause if you lie. I carved out a 3-month operating reserve target. $180,000, funded at $15,000 a week. The line item sits like an anchor at the bottom of the cash forecast. When money feels like water, anchors matter. Discipline seeped into the physical plant. We labeled every bin in the parts cage, barcode straps and shrink wrap, replaced the busted dock light, and painted yellow lines where the forklift path actually runs. I posted a laminated checklist on the south door. Alarm heavy checkmark cameras, heavy checkmark dock plates, heavy checkmark fuel cards, secured heavy checkmark. On the wall by receiving, a metal plaque went up. No handshake deals. I had it etched in block letters at a trophy shop where the owner, a woman who's seen 1,000 midlife pivots, said, "You'd be surprised how many people want the same sign." Dylan's old friends stopped swinging by. After his second police incident, a bar fight spun as misunderstanding. The flag football chorus went quiet. Cal unfollowed everyone but kept his reels. Sophie posted a travel flat lay with an airline tag and a caption about fresh starts. I didn't like or comment. Silence, I've learned, scales. There are still shocks. An engine failure at 3 a.m. A driver's kid in the ER. A vendor who tries to slip in a rush fee. But the systems catch most of it. The 4 eyes rule flags the invoice. The reserve floats payroll. Keisha's on-call phone makes sure someone answers without panic. Shame used to burn me for what other people did in my name. Now my job is simpler, harder, cleaner. Install rails, set alarms, keep receipts, and make sure no one, family included, can steer us off a cliff with a pretty sentence and a pen engraved with our last name. A year after that, temporary transfer. I'm on our Westerville floor at 7:12 a.m., watching new zebra scanners chirp as cartons roll past. Each beep shoots tracking to the cloud. The dispatch track board paints little green tiles. The reserve account sits at $186,000, 3 months of payroll and lease. The signature committee, me, Keisha, and Victor, meets every Tuesday at 9:30. Invoices over $5,000 live or die in 15 clean minutes. No more midnight wires. No more, it's just optimization. We rebuilt the bones. Vendor onboarding runs through a portal with W-9s, COIs, and a conflict check that actually checks. Our UPS subcontract renewed for another year with an on-time clause we negotiated word by word. Drivers carry laminated cards with 2 phone numbers, dispatch and HR. No more calling a cousin to fix a lane. The mezzanine went in powder-coated steel, 3 pallet bays deep, and the East Brainerd Road lease finally made sense after we added trench drains. I stand on that mezzanine sometimes and listen to forklifts hum like a choir that knows its part. Sophie filed for divorce in April, Franklin County docket stamped and scanned. Dylan moved to Kentucky in May. The TRO still stands until November. I keep it factual. If someone asks, I say, there's a court order. We're following it. Mom tried once to float a coffee just to talk, and I slid the therapy condition across the table like a placemat. Joint sessions, full accountability, no whatabouts. He hasn't called. I'm done leaving doors unlocked in the name of love. Sundays came back. The roasted chicken returns, the salad with too much dill, the Browns game murmuring in the background even when no one cares. The difference is the perimeter. Dad reads the financials I bring and doesn't argue the numbers. Mom sets out plates and, when she drifts toward, smart people do, she stops, breathes and says, "What does your policy say?" We eat. We clear dishes. No lobbying, no laminated flowcharts from buddies in gel. Peace by procedure is still peace. The plaque by receiving, NO handshake deals, gets smudged by dust and hands. I polish it once a week like a ritual. Above my desk a paper reads, "Next time, our deal won't be a handshake. It'll be a fortress with signatures." Around it, the fortress took shape. Operating agreement rewritten, buy-sell funded with a small life policy, NDAs with every client-facing role, a whistleblower email that goes straight to Marina's inbox, and a change management rule that forces a 24-hour cool-off on any big spend. We added an audit calendar. Bank rec by Monday noon, sales tax by the 20th, payroll tax the day we run it. No suspense, no heroics. There are still human moments. Lila's baby shower happens under the mezzanine with a sheet cake and paper cranes. I give her an extra week paid because the policy allows discretion when a scheduler has saved your quarter twice. A driver breaks down on I-70. We roll a spare, swap a tire, reroute with an apology before anyone screams. Victor sends me a meme about accountants and feelings. I send him a photo of the reserve account like a Valentine. People ask if I miss the version of life where family decisions happened over a table with a pen engraved with our last name. I don't. I miss innocence the way you miss a tool that never worked. With a shrug. I like keys that click because the lock fits, signatures that bind because the clauses bite, money that sits in an account until rules move it. I like that the story we tell clients is boring. Here's your SLA, here's your scorecard, here's your timestamp, and they renew anyway. As for Dylan, I hold 2 truths without shaking. I love my brother. I won't be managed by him again. If he ever wants to step into a room with a therapist and a ledger, I'll sit. If he wants to perform in lobbies with a phone up, the guard will ask him to leave. Both are boundary, not punishment. Both are the price of re-entering a life you tried to take as a prize. I changed, yes. I stopped being the person you manipulate by saying trust family like a spell. I'm an owner who reads the footnotes and asks for escrow. An employer who pays on time and expects receipts. A man who knows that love without limits is a contract with blank pages. The scanners chirp. The board glows green. The fortress isn't a castle moat. It's a warehouse with working lights, a balance sheet with air in it, and a simple sentence I can now say without flinching. To vendors, to friends, to blood. No, not like that.